President.
Thank you, Comrade National Chairperson, national officials of the African National Congress, President Thabo Mbeki, members of the NEC, stalwarts and veterans of our movement, and the leadership of our leagues and alliance partners, and various mass democratic movement organizations, deployed comrades and comrades all. Let me start off by thanking all the comrades who have come to participate in this lekgotla and attending this lekgotla. We have now come to the conclusion of the first NEC lekgotla after the national and provincial elections that we held in May of this year. Through the deliberations that we have had over the last 3 days, the cadres of our movement gathered here have fully understood and responded pragmatically to the momentous tasks that lie ahead. Having dedicated much time to analyzing the effects and implications of the outcomes of the 2024 elections, this lekgotla has, in more ways than one, provided critical direction to our movement, to our government, and to our country as well. In line with a long-standing tradition of our movement, we have not shied away from confronting difficult questions and uncomfortable truths, from admitting mistakes and acknowledging our weaknesses. At the same time, we have not allowed the strategic setback that we have suffered in these elections to break our spirit and to wear us down. Even in the most trying moments in the complex history of our struggle and our country, the ANC has always taken decisions in the best interests of the people of South Africa. We have not succumbed to cynicism and despair. We have recognized the strength of our movement, the enduring faith of the people of South Africa in the vision of a free, democratic, united and equal society, and the enormous potential in our country to provide meaningful livelihoods and opportunities for all. We have reaffirmed our determination to achieve a national democratic society. This is a vision from which we will not retreat. We have agreed that the challenging conditions in which we now prosecute the national democratic revolution demand greater focus, they demand discipline, application, as well as focused execution of our decisions. These new conditions require that we be innovative and agile in dealing with the pressing problems of the people of our country in every locality across the length and the breadth of our country. They also require that we be firm and unwavering in our strategic intent and foresight while remaining flexible in our tactics. The lekgotla has outlined the actions we need to take in government, in our movement, in communities and in other areas of society to advance fundamental social and economic transformation. This lekgotla has underscored the centrality of ANC structures, especially in communities and the quality of ANC members who must undertake work in every community and sector of society. We have said that we cannot undertake the tasks required of us if we do not unite the ANC and if we do not renew the ANC and strengthen it. As the 2024 elections have reminded us, and as we know from our own history, there is no way that we can advance the national democratic revolution without effective and active structures of the alliance and the broad democratic movement. By the same measure, we need ANC members, ANC volunteers, cadres, and leaders who are committed, who are selfless, and who are themselves capable. They should be people who have integrity, who display advanced levels of political consciousness. Through organizational renewal, we need to promote principled, transformative, and emancipatory activism and politics. This lekgotla has confirmed that the ANC must proceed without delay and with greater energy with the renewal of our movement. Comrade Blade Nzimande reminded us that we cannot renew the ANC without renewing the alliance, and we agree. We must now make it a priority to build the alliance as a cohesive and effective agent of change within a common program of action. We will continue to engage with our alliance partners on the government of national unity, having taken the view that the government of national unity is the best tactical option, that the ANC also is fully aware about the risks and the potential threats of this movement. We have noted the statement of the South African Communist Party on the occasion of its 103rd anniversary, that the party, as they said in their statement, takes a critical but non-oppositionist stance towards the government of national unity. And we welcome this. We agree with the SACP that we must ensure that our participation in the government of national unity does not undermine our core principles and goals, but serves as a platform to defend and advance working class interests. We agree with them there as well. It is necessary that the entire alliance must discuss how to handle all the pressing political, strategic, tactical, and organizational questions. We will emerge stronger from the current strategic setback if we are united and work together as comrades and not personalize political issues. President O.R. Tambo's words at the 48th ANC National Conference in 1991 have great relevance when he said, "We did not tear ourselves apart because of lack of progress at times. We were always ready to accept our mistakes and to correct them. Above all, we succeeded to foster and defend the unity of the ANC and the unity of our people in general. Even in bleak moments, we were never in doubt about winning our freedom. We have never been in doubt that the people's cause shall triumph." Close quotes. The ANC-led alliance can handle all challenges of this moment and turn the setback into strategic advantage to propel the transformation agenda forward. When we are united, we can never be defeated. We should be able to make progress from the jaws of a setback. The lekgotla has paid particular attention to the task of communications and the need to engage more vigorously in the battle of ideas. We were reminded that communications is an essential political task that must be integral to our work, whether in the movement, in communities, or in government. We know that actions do speak louder than words. We communicate through our conduct, our actions, and the difference we make in people's lives, and the difference, rather, that we make in people's lives. If we are divided, if we tolerate acts of corruption and patronage, if we live lavish lifestyles through which we show ourselves to be better than our people and appear to only look after our own, then not even the best communication strategy will be able to improve our standing amongst our people. The renewal of the ANC must be reflected in our everyday behavior, on how we conduct ourselves in public platforms, and what we post on social media. Let us not occupy headlines for wrong reasons. Let us be known for excellence and competence. Every NEC member, every public representative, every deployee of the ANC and every cadre must consider themselves as communicators. They need to be suitably skilled and capacitated, and they need to understand the positions and messages of the ANC and need to exercise discipline and responsibility. This lekgotla has confirmed that amongst the many actions that we must now take, our apex priority at this time is inclusive economic growth. We understand inclusive growth to be a process that creates employment for the millions of South Africans who are today without jobs. It must be growth that prioritizes the interests of the poor and the working class. We understand inclusive growth to be transformative. It must contribute to fundamental changes in our economy's structure, in its systems, and the institutions that support it to benefit all South Africans, focusing on blacks in general and Africans in particular. The economic growth we should pursue must lead to the empowerment of women, young people, and vulnerable groups in our country. The lekgotla has agreed that we should implement our economic policies and have greater focus on infrastructure, agriculture, beneficiation of our minerals, transport, energy, logistics, the digital economy, and industrialization. As we undertake this task, we must, as a matter of urgency, intensify the work to drive investment in infrastructure and productive economic activity. We must complete the reforms that are currently underway to improve the efficiency and capacity of our network industries, especially electricity, transport and logistics, water and telecommunications. We have said that we will continue to use public procurement to support SMMEs as well as women-led and owned businesses, and also to increase financial and non-financial support for the SMMEs. We need, in particular, to support women and youth-owned businesses and emerging industrialists as well. We recognize that participation in economic activity is the most effective way to lift people out of poverty and improve their lives on a sustainable basis. We also recognize that we must use the sustainable capabilities of the state to far greater effect to reduce poverty and shield people from the high cost of living. This requires us to strengthen social protection measures, such as grants and the provision of subsidized services, while providing people with pathways into economic activity and skills development. We have said that among the steps we must take to address the rising cost of living, we must conduct a study and review the mechanisms for determining various administered prices, such as fuel and electricity, and look to expand the list of basic goods that are VAT exempt. With so many people living far from economic opportunities and services, and transport, the costs that they have to incur in transport takes up a large part of people's income and drive up living costs. We therefore need to invest in public transport, restoring and expanding the operational capabilities of the commuter rail system, and implementing an integrated public transport system that is safe as well as affordable. We have highlighted the social and economic value of affordable, accessible, quality health care that is available equally to all South Africans. We will therefore proceed with the implementation of the National Health Insurance. We will invest in our health infrastructure. We will invest in our health infrastructure and the training of health personnel and improve the quality of care in both the public and private health sectors. It is essential that we undertake this work so that South Africans can live longer and healthier lives. This will enable our people to be more productive so that they can be lifted out of poverty. We have emphasized that our education system, from early childhood development through to post-school education and training, must prepare young people for the world of work. The lekgotla has identified practical actions that we must take to strengthen vital areas in our education system and skills development for young people. Skilling our young people in digital skills must be implemented conscientiously and fully. Nazo, okay. We have recognized that building a capable developmental state must begin with the ANC and the Alliance. We need to build the capacity of the ANC to provide leadership to the state and to ensure that the state faithfully and fully implements the electoral mandate. The lekgotla has reaffirmed the developmental importance of a professionalized public service with robust mechanisms for capacity building, which will involve regular training for our public servants. We agreed that we should ensure that performance management, accountability, and consequence management should be enforced, and it will be enforced. We agreed that we should not limit our understanding of a capable state to the executive only. Parliament and legislatures are vital in ensuring that the state is both efficient and accountable. As the movement, we need to give equal attention to the work of Parliament and our legislatures to ensure that we deploy capable and committed people to these institutions and that they have the resources and capabilities to advance our movement's electoral mandate. We must focus at this time on building capable and developmental local government. It is at this sphere of government where the state can have the greatest effect and where there is now the greatest need. The lekgotla has identified the value of the district development model in aligning the work of all spheres of government more effectively in strengthening the provision of local infrastructure and services. We have agreed that local government must be placed more firmly on the national agenda because the performance of local government is vital to the success of our efforts to inclusive economic growth and to reduce poverty as well. The lekgotla has called on government to focus on the prevention of crime and to address the social and economic conditions that fuel crime and violence in our country. As the ANC and Alliance, we need to take a far more assertive role in mobilizing communities and all social formations in a countrywide effort to tackle crime, gangsterism, as well as violence. An integral part of that work must be the fight against gender-based violence and femicide. As we strengthen the response to the criminal justice system and improve the support provided to survivors of these crimes, our priority must be on prevention. We must ensure that the National Council on Gender-Based Violence and Femicide is constituted without delay, and it must also be capacitated so that it can coordinate and drive a response that is multidimensional and involves all stakeholders. As the ANC, we have a clear mandate from the electorate. Whenever we are deployed and wherever we are deployed, we have a responsibility to implement the commitments that are contained in our manifesto. This lekgotla has provided us with further direction on how we should implement our manifesto commitments. We have recognized that we need to undertake this work within a government of national unity, comprised of parties, some of which we have sharp political and ideological differences. We need to provide leadership to the work of the government of national unity, not through the imposition of our will, but through the strength of our positions and the clarity of our purpose. We need to make use of the fact that the principles and minimum program contained in the statement of intent that the 10 parties of the GNU committed themselves to provides a basis for far-reaching social and economic transformation. Drawing on the deliberations of the lekgotla, we will translate the minimum program into the 7th administration's minimum term development plan that will enable the implementation of our electoral mandate. The lekgotla supported the calling of the national dialogue as an initiative that will enable us to craft a comprehensive national social compact that will determine the South Africa we want. We agreed that the national dialogue must be as inclusive as possible. Many countries are increasingly recognizing the important and constructive role that South Africa has played and continues to play in continental and international matters. As the ANC and the Alliance, and as a country, we will execute our international responsibilities to promote our country's national interests and advance the interests of our continent. We will continue to give greater strategic attention to the work that we need to do to advance the interests of the Global South. The lekgotla has recognized the significance of South Africa's presidency of the G20 and the opportunities that this presidency of the G20 provides to us to advance the needs and interests of the African continent and the Global South. Our participation in BRICS is beneficial to our country in political, social, and economic terms and needs to be taken forward with a great deal of commitment. We need to make our G20 presidency an important pillar of our efforts to advance sustainable development, inclusive economic growth, justice, peace, and stability across the globe. The positions of the ANC on solidarity with the struggles of the peoples of Palestine, Western Sahara, Cuba, and elsewhere must continue to find expression in the programs of our government. As we have done in the past, the Secretary General's office will publicly communicate the more detailed outcomes of the lekgotla as canvassed in the commissions and as adopted by this lekgotla in the next few days. We leave this lekgotla encouraged, energized, and inspired. We have identified the tasks our movement needs to undertake in the weeks and months ahead to meet the expectations of the people of South Africa. We have a firm sense that we must do, on what we should do rather, to rebuild the ANC and the Alliance and to begin to restore people's trust in our movement. The NEC will be holding another meeting in the next weeks to conduct an in-depth and introspective analysis of the state of our organization on a branch-by-branch basis, with a view to enhancing the renewal of our movement. We are committed to a robust outcomes monitoring and accountability framework of the work that we do in the ANC and in government. We will focus on implementation and the execution of the decisions that we have arrived at. In the end, no strategy can deliver outcomes unless it is converted into specific actions. Every leader, every cadre, public representative, and employee must accept the tasks they have been given and take personal responsibility for the manner in which they perform these tasks. This lekgotla has therefore provided the guidance that we needed. We initially held a government lekgotla which reinforced the actions we need to take with regard to the statement of intent. But this lekgotla has now come up with specific actions that need to be taken. And this will be taken forward in government, obviously with discussion with other parties. So now is the time for us to go out and do the work that our people expect us to do, even in a government of national unity. And it is for this reason that we call on all South Africans to support the government of national unity and to wish it well as it executes the task that it must execute. Thank you.